So I'm not usually a political commentator, but I'm just curious if my audience is interested in these topics. But the contrast between former President Barack Obama and current President Donald Trump is nothing short of fascinating, unbelievable. Here we have two presidents, one of whom is consistently ranked as one of the best presidents in the top 10 that we've ever had. That's Barack Obama. And the other, Donald Trump, who is consistently ranked as the worst president we've ever had. How fascinating that these two figures have been elected to the central, most powerful position in the country and, in fact, the world within a decade time span of each other. Now, we're saying that they're the best and the worst, right? So what does that actually say about us as people, as humanity, as Americans? Fascinating, because you have one president, Barack Obama, who in some ways typified the ideal American, the ideal human being, the ideal president, right? Cool, classy, respectable, honorable, and brings a tear to your eye when you reflect back on just how beautiful that was. We have so many different qualities that we can embody as human beings, and he was able to embody some of the more idealistic and better ones. With Donald Trump, we have someone who is embodying some of the worst of our characteristics that we would judge as being the worst parts of ourselves, that we do everything to hide and not show anyone. And, well, more than 50% of our country, unless there was some sort of voter fraud, voted for Donald Trump twice. So what does that tell us? It tells me that we are a people that are very conflicted and divided within ourselves. We are a people that, on the one hand, we strive for this idealism, and on the other hand, we're grounded in this base reality of fear, greed, hatred, war, and that those things were so typified by Trump and so obvious in a way that he did not intend to hide any of it from people. It's as if everything that Trump does is at face value, even when he's lying, which he does seemingly every single day. But it's all so transparent that we can't help but notice it. And that gives us that reflection of ourselves because we're so good at lying to ourselves. And we're very, very good at that. But when we see it in Trump, we say, oh, well, that's obviously not right. And then we don't recognize that that's actually what's going on within ourselves. So for me, while I did not even vote in several of the last elections, or at least not for either of the major parties, in the most recent election, I'll say I voted independently. It's not that I wanted Trump to win a second term, but I recognize the fact that it would be a much faster path to reconciliation for our country. If we had elected someone who was more in the middle, because we weren't going to get another Obama, that may have just extended this vague, uneasy period that our country has been going through and the world has been going through. So by electing Trump, it's just put all on center stage for everyone to see. There's no denying it. And in that sense, I feel as though, personally, he is doing a great service to humanity because all the bad things that he's doing are happening everywhere by so many people all the time, and it's hidden. We don't actually get to see it. Now that Trump is embodying that and people can blame him, right, where it's not really all him, there will come a point when people reflect back on themselves and realize, ah, yes, this is me too. And that's when the real change begins. When we recognize half of us is that. Half of us is the ideal of Obama, and half of us is that realism of we're immature. We lie. We steal. We cheat. We're egocentric and all those things, right? Ignorant. We don't understand what's even happening around us, right? And we just try and push our way around. Yeah, I mean, that's just part of humanity. We can't pretend it doesn't exist. Half the country voted for him. I mean, that's unbelievable, right? Or is it? Because it resonates with truth. They're both true. So that's how I kind of see the political landscape in the two-party system. Is it's a polarized, divided system, taking these two extremes of human nature and sort of making them into this bipolar either-or type of situation, when in reality, those things are actually like part of the same system. And we got to take care of all of it. So, not to say that we condone the violence, not to say that we condone the hatred, But it's understandable why people would go along with it when subjugated by a system of power. How many of us would really just stand up and be killed for our ideals and our principles? And how many of us would actually just try to hide and go along with it so that we don't lose our own lives in the process, so that we can live to fight another day? And I think that's what a lot of Americans right now are doing. Hiding, waiting, and hoping for a better future. Thank you.